Good afternoon and welcome. I want to thank you all so much for joining us here today. I'm thrilled to be joined by Mayor Shore, congratulations, our Lansing School District Superintendent Schneider, and a special thank you and warm welcome to Governor Markell, who is the White House coordinator of Afghan Allies. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you all come all this way to meet with us and allow us to share our story and highlight the tremendous work that Michigan partners have been doing. While our collaborative partnerships to support immigrant and refugee communities are ongoing, the recent months and violence in Afghanistan have brought forward a new call to action, a call to step forward to support and welcome Afghan allies to our state. To truly support and protect these Afghan men, women, and children as they flee from violence and political persecution takes a village. And here in Michigan, we're proud to know our village was able to rise to the challenge and remains committed to going above and beyond as we welcome our new neighbors to our great state. In a matter of just a few short months, we were able to work closely with federal, state, and local partners to ensure we had the resources and support for the approximately 1,600 Afghan allies coming to Michigan. The 5 Michigan resettlement agencies quickly pulled together plans to provide, among other things, permanent housing, employment opportunities, and cultural orientation. They're helping families enroll children in school and secure state IDs and driver's licenses. We're coordinating with statewide partners to secure other urgent items like clothing, personal hygiene products, school supplies, and more. These are all identified through our statewide volunteer and donation website. We're also lining up volunteers who stand ready to welcome our new friends into our community. But we can't do this at the state and local level alone. We've been in close contact with our federal partners who manage these resettlement efforts. And we're thankful for their recent $6.3 billion investment that allows Afghan nationals who fled the violence in their country and arrived here in the United States with little to no belongings, no savings, no comforts of home, to be eligible for resettlement services and benefits that will help these families get on their feet and pursue the great many opportunities that Michigan has to offer. The Office of Global Michigan works to promote the skills, energy, and entrepreneurial spirit of our immigrant and refugee communities, and to build and nurture the spirit of welcoming communities in Michigan. Assisting these Afghan arrivals is consistent with our vision. We hope more Michiganders will join us as we embrace our new Afghan neighbors. With that, I'm very happy to turn it over to one of our community partners championing a more diverse and inclusive community, Lansing Mayor Andy Shore.
It's not every day I get applause at a press conference, so thank you for that. Thank you, Poppy. It really is exciting to have not only our governor's point person here, but our president's point person here in Lansing, showing that we're doing it right, we're doing it as well as we can. We know that we're a welcoming community. We know that our school district has the resources to help out. We know that our city has the ability to house and to make sure that people are welcome here and to provide translators and other things. So from the beginning, when we heard about everything that was going on, we have indicated a willingness to be welcoming, to bring some of these Afghan arrivals here and to do our part, as we always have here in Lansing. So, 2 days ago, potentially at the end of a campaign, as I was a little busy governing and campaigning, I got a call from the White House saying that the governor was interested in coming to Lansing. So, of course, we dropped everything and said yes. So we got on the phone with St. Vincent Catholic Charities, with the Refugee Development Center, with the school district, and everybody said yes. We want to show off to the world what we're doing. So Governor, welcome. It is an honor to have you here. I should probably look at my talking points. So it's certainly an honor to be acknowledged for the part that we've played in our state's ongoing refugee efforts regarding Operation Allies and our welcome plan Again, we are the capital city of Michigan, and we're proud to lead this effort to resettle those who need to be. I want to talk a little bit, and then I'll pass on the mic. I want to talk a little bit about our incredible agencies who have been so crazy slammed but are getting it done, and they have my utmost respect and thanks. We had a fundraiser about 3 weeks ago for former military members who pretty much said that when they were overseas in Afghanistan, they believed that the folks there were welcoming to them, and they wanted to be just as welcoming here. And they raised about $20,000 in one night right in our downtown in Lansing. And they gave that money right over to the folks that are here doing the work. We really have stepped up. I want to thank everybody. I also want to thank, everybody's stepping up. The city, we're working on housing, and our staff is working with that. We're working on power, and our Board of Water and Light's working on that. And just yesterday, in a meeting that we had, there were questions about how we're going to get power and other things, and TriStar Bank stepped up and said, we're going to throw in a few $1,000s to make sure we can get that done. What's next? We are solving problems to make sure that these folks are here, they're getting helped, and they're feeling welcome. So it is certainly an honor to work with the governor's office, the Office of Global Michigan, who have been, again, tremendous partners. It's a traumatic time and a tough time for these folks coming over. And if we can make their lives easier, if we can show them that we are welcoming and we are friendly, and that we are going to make sure that they have housing and that they have the needs that they have, and we can help them with the federal government, the state government, and the school district can provide them with an education for their children, then that's a success. That's who we are in Lansing. We are those welcoming people. We are excited to welcome our Afghan arrivals, our Afghan friends. So thank you all for having me here. We are excited to welcome these wonderful folks with open arms, and to show how great our schools are. Again, as a parent of 2 children in our Lansing School District, I am tremendously proud of what our school district has done, not only with the Afghan arrivals, but with children from all over the country. I want to introduce our Superintendent Ben Schneider.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nobody came here to listen to me. So, what I'll say is pretty simple. The job of a school district is to welcome all children. But more importantly than that, it's to welcome families and to create a community for all of us. And that's what we do here. It's what we do here every day. I'm honored that I can be the superintendent of a district that is so open, so warm, so welcoming to folks from around the world. What we're doing here with Afghani refugees is what we do for anybody from any place that wants to come here. And so please let the world know that the work that Lansing is doing is terrific. Thank you. And it gives me great honor and privilege to introduce the governor who, for those of you who don't know, has been an incredible public service his entire life, and the fact that he's helping to lead the Afghani refugee program is really an honor for the country to be able to have somebody like him do that. So thank you.
Well, thank you. It's truly a pleasure to be here in Lansing, and I want to thank Poppy and the team from Global Michigan, including Ben Helen from the State Refugee Coordinator and the Health Refugee Coordinator, who are just doing an incredible job. To be with the mayor, fresh off of his re-election. I can tell you 2 days after my re-elections, I was rarely working, so I thank you so much, and for your all the innovation and your spirit of welcoming. The superintendent for all you're doing in the school system, and I also want to thank Judy and her team from Catholic Charities for just doing really an extraordinary job. So, as mentioned a couple months ago, the president asked me to serve as the White House coordinator for what we call Operation Allies Welcome. He wanted to make sure that we provided a safe and a dignified welcome to our allies from Afghanistan. And that's what it's all about. He wanted to make sure we provided not just a whole of U.S. government welcome, but a whole of America welcome. So I've been working closely with governors, with mayors, with the veterans service organizations. The veterans have been incredibly important because they recognize better than anybody how our Afghan allies worked by our side, fought by our side, and they understand better than anybody the obligation that we owe them. I've been working with faith-based organizations, with the Afghan American diaspora, and it has been just truly remarkable to see the outpouring of support. And to be here in Michigan, where you have a governor who has been so supportive, and please give my best to her, and where we also have seen a lot of bipartisan support. And this is really the beauty of this effort. This is not a blue effort, it's not a red effort. People across the country recognize our obligation to our allies from Afghanistan. So I came to Lansing specifically because of the reputation that Lansing has, and Michigan have already developed in terms of the innovation and the support that your city and that your state are providing to the folks from Afghanistan. I've already had a remarkable day, having met with a family this morning. They've been here a month. Their message to me: thank you. Thank the United States of America, thank the state of Michigan, thank Lansing. And they acknowledged they didn't know about Michigan. They did not know about Lansing before they came here. And they feel so fortunate to be here because of the outpouring of support. I got to see some classes in Operation Financial Literacy classes, getting to meet with a lot of the stakeholders, certainly seeing what's going on here in the school. But what I've been particularly impressed by, and I really thank the Global Michigan team for this, is the nature of the interagency process. That's like a fancy word for saying getting people to work together. And it doesn't always work that way in government. But what I have already seen here in Michigan, and in Lansing specifically, all of the agencies across state government working with the mayor, working with the school system on a variety of things. I mean, so for example, one of the particular issues, you've had such an outpouring of support from volunteers. And it's important that these volunteers be vetted, that we know who they are. And so the work that the interagency process has done, working with the Michigan State Police, for example, to do some of the vetting, has been, particularly impressive. The work that they've been doing with schools across the state of Michigan, making sure that they've identified a point of contact in every school district to provide the supports, the technical assistance that is necessary. So I am visiting a number of communities across the country where things are going particularly well, so that we can learn from those communities and share best practices across the country. So in my mind, it is very fitting that we visit Lansing and that we visit the state of Michigan, because I think you all are doing so much that can be shared across the country. This is such an incredible opportunity for us as a nation to show who we are, to do exactly what our veterans have asked us to do, which is to honor the obligation that we have as a country to those who serve by our side and fought by our side. And I am very confident, based on what I had heard previously and by what I've seen today, that Michigan and Lansing are leading the way. So with that, I very much appreciate you all having me, and happy to take any questions.
I'm Anna from Michigan Advance. I was wondering, can you talk a little bit about what you think is going right here that you would want to share across the country?
So the outpouring of support from the community is truly remarkable. The number of people who have signed up to volunteer is tremendous, and I think that is, in fact, I met a volunteer a couple of hours ago, and she told me that she and her husband, she told me her husband may be here, by the way. Is Jim here? No. All right. Anyway, she told me about their efforts with a particular family, connecting that family to health care and the like. It was really quite a moving story. But I do think what's going particularly right here, in addition to the outpouring of support, is the cooperation amongst levels of government. This is not just a state government issue. It's not just a city issue. This is an everybody issue, the support that they're getting from many members of the congressional delegation as well. You know, voters, I always knew when I was governor, voters really don't care if a particular issue is the responsibility of the federal government, the state government, the local government. They just want their issues resolved. And I can see that the same attitude exists here in Michigan, that we're going to work together across governmental jurisdictions to solve these problems. So I do believe that this is particularly important. I think the work that's going on in this school district, and I think, you know, there's a particular advantage, which is that Lansing has long been a welcoming place to refugees from around the world. And I think so that is a great place to start, but they've really figured a lot of it out in terms of, as the superintendent said to me, our job is not just to educate the kid, it's to work with the entire family. And I think having that attitude as well is really important. So you also do have the state refugee coordinator here. Ben, who's in the back. Every state has a state refugee coordinator. Ben is recognized in Washington for his level of innovation. And so as we are looking for ways to expand the capacity of the country to accept and to resettle Afghans across the country, we're looking at new models, including really doubling down on our work with the state refugee coordinators. And Ben is amongst the very first people that the folks in Washington wanted to talk to. So I actually think there's quite a lot going on here. And I also have to say, having visited with Judy and some of her team members from Catholic Charities, they've figured this out. And I think they are working really well. You can tell there's a level of trust between the resettlement agencies. There are 9 big resettlement agencies across the country, and they have about 200 affiliates, of which Catholic Charities in Lansing is one of those affiliates. And you can tell that because of the work that they've been doing over a long period of time, there's a level of trust between the resettlement agencies, the state refugee coordinators, the school district, the other NGOs, the volunteers, and it's really hard to overstate the importance of that. Anybody else?
Josh Sanchez with WLNS 6 News. What are the challenges that lie ahead for the operation at a federal level, sir?
So the question being, what are the challenges that lie ahead for the operation at a federal level? The way I think about it is, I think it's important that we all put ourselves in the shoes of our allies from Afghanistan that we're all trying to resettle. What does it take for them to be successful? They need a stable place to live. They need to get their kids connected to schools where the schools have the necessary supports. They need a job. They need access to health care. And so if those are the challenges for our allies, those are also challenges for all of us, including at the federal level. So we had to give you a sense of the scale. We have settled since the middle of August, about 17,000 of our allies from Afghanistan. We currently have about just over 50,000 who are on 8 U.S. military bases across the country. We'll have another couple thousand or so arriving in the next week. We had put the entire resettlement process on hold about 6 or 7 weeks ago because there were a couple of cases of measles at the U.S. military bases. And that's a very, very highly infectious disease. So we ramped up, the military did an incredible job of launching a massive vaccination campaign, not only for measles and COVID, but for a number of diseases. And for measles in particular, it takes 21 days post-vaccination for the measles vaccination to take effect. So we put the whole process on hold for a few weeks. So now our job is to resettle people as quickly as possible off the bases, but doing it well. And that's really what it's all about. So all of these issues, housing, jobs, connections to local communities, kids feeling welcomed in schools. I saw a little boy, he was, I think, third or fourth grade, being assessed. The smile on that child's face was infectious. And what we all want for all of these kids is that years from now, they're going to look back on this time and they'll say that was a hard time, getting out of Afghanistan, having to spend some time on a military base, going to a community where my family didn't know anybody, but we felt embraced. We felt welcomed. And now that, that child is going to be, that the American dream can be as real to them as it has been to anybody in the past. And that should be our aspiration for all of these kids.
17,000, do you have any idea how many have resettled in the Lansing or greater Lansing area?
About two, who?
It's about 100.
It's up?
Right around 100.
105. More on the way, but so far 105. What's interesting about the resettlement process, it's not as easy as saying we're just going to send 105 to Lansing. What happens is Judy has to work with the local community and the school district to say, okay, how many kids can the school district accept? Is there housing that's appropriate for this particular family? And it's highly involved, it's highly personal. So for 105. Maybe one last question.
I think just piggybacking off of that, so like earlier you said around 1,600 refugees came to Michigan and you guys have settled around 100.
1,600, so the state of Michigan has committed to welcoming 1,600 total. At this time, it's around 175 that we have already welcomed. And we get those numbers every week from the feds. They tell us this is how many you can plan on coming in this week. So for this, right now we have 175 that have arrived across the state. Lansing has taken the largest.
275.
275, thank you. Numbers are great. 275 across the state. Lansing has taken the highest number, I think, across the resettlement agencies. There's 175 coming over the next week. So those are the numbers for right now, but the total number is 1,600 by December 31st. That's the goal. Did you have another? That was it? You just wanted to know that?
Yeah, I just wanted to.
Okay,
clear
awesome.
it.
Okay.
All right, let me just close with this. As with everything else in life, so much comes down to leadership. And I just think you in Lansing, you in Michigan, should be really proud of the work that you're doing, of the fact that you are truly a model for the rest of the country. And I look forward to taking your story on the road so that the entire country can do as good a job as you're doing. So thanks very much.